Hi guys, and welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. What you see in the vise is a Bibio hopper. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise is a Hackle H230 barbless hook. This one's at size 10 and it's finished on a medium wire. Now that's going to help me keep this fly really high in the water. Now the thread I'm going to be using today for a little change is the UTC Black. This is at 70 denier. And the first thing I'm going to do is get a little bit of wax onto my thread. Now folks, I just want to say, if you might already be aware, but this will be the last fly tying tutorial for a couple of months. I'm going to take the summer off, so there'll be no content being published throughout July and August. I need a break is the honest answer. Not only that, my house is desperate for decorating and it's not going to happen by itself. So I'm going to be taking some time to just put other things other than fishing in order. So after part 2 of the Army Championships on Thursday, I'll be going, not radio silent, but the content will be a lot less than it usually is. I'll be back in September. I'll continue to film content throughout the summer and be back with fresh videos in the month of September. But as it's going to be my last fly tying one, I should mention that I've just tied in some silver wire. This is a medium wire from Uni, French wire. And the next thing I'm going to do is the body of the fly. Now, for flies that you want to float, if you're going to dub the body, the best thing you can use for still water stuff at least is seal's fur. And I'm using, you can see I'm on the tail end of this, but you don't need very much. Now seal's fur is a very coarse material and it's notoriously difficult to dub onto thread. What can help you with that is some soft wax. This is a sticky wax from Troutline and it really does help when you're coming to dub on seal's fur. I'll just keep the lid off because I know I'm going to need some more of that. And I'll grab a little bit of seal's fur. You always need a lot less than you think when you're doing this. So I'm going to dress it up and dub it on. Now while I'm doing this, and it does take a bit of work, we'll go back to this being the last tutorial for a while. So what I want to do is get a discussion going really. So fly tyers will tell you that the fish won't be interested unless you get the pattern just right, and I would protest that that's a complete nonsense. Anyone that fishes, and fishes a lot, and fly tying's like their second hobby, will tell you that the least important thing when you're angling is the fly. The most important thing, certainly for loch style, is the depth, the speed of the retrieve and the profile. I would argue that is the most important thing. But please, do let me know if you think differently. So, the hot spot in the middle of the Bibio, as I'm sure we're all aware, is red. Now I've got, they call it scarlet, but it's as red as it comes close to. And what I'm going to do to boost this is I'm going to add some ice dubbing. And this is from Fritz and Fly. So I've got a little bit of ice dubbing and a little bit of seal's fur. Now I'm going to tie several of these for my Orkney box, so I can just get the dubbing prepared. All I'm doing is ripping it in my fingers, ready to go onto the fly. So yeah, going back to the question, it brings a question to me that, and it's what I've always suspected, that fly tying is definitely a different hobby, a completely different hobby. I really enjoy fly tying, but I'm well aware that the flies I tie are not making a great deal of difference to my success on the water. That comes from knowing what depth fish are sitting at, how they behave on certain days, and very little to do with the pattern I'm fishing. Although when we're in a boat and our partner's catching fish, hand over fist, it's very difficult not to ask them, what he's using and can you have one. I'm sure we've all done it. And now that I've got my red hotspot in, I'm going to come back to my black, and just before I attempt to dub that onto the thread, I'm going to get a little bit more of the sticky wax on and get that dubbed on nice and tough. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of working with seal's fur. It's not the most pleasant material to get on with. Now I'm leaving plenty of room at the front here because there's going to be quite a lot going on with that. So I've got that in it, and what I'm going to do is just get a couple of wraps just to make sure that dubbing's not going to go anywhere. Next thing then is I'm going to come in with my wire brush here and just scruff it out. Now all these fibres are going to get trapped in with the dressing, but it just helps scruff it out. And it being scruffed out, it's going to help keep it in the upper layers. The next thing then is I'm going to put a cock hackle in. Now, sadly, this is my cape, and I seem to have lost the bit that I need, which is the bit above this. So the feather I've got is rather small, but perfectly formed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this in at the stem, a couple of turns, just get that secured in, and then I can grab my hackle pliers, just grab the tip, and we'll get one turn on top of each other just to give it a bit of structure at the front, and then I can simply palmer backwards till I meet my rib. Then with the rib I can grab that, secure it into place. I'm just going to, hackle pliers have parted company, but I've already got my rib in place to hold that. And then I'm going to get 4 to 5 turns up the body. Try and keep it nice and evenly spaced. And then I can trap that into place. 2 or 3 turns. I'll get 2 or 3 turns in front. Then if I turn it onto its side, keep tension on my thread, and I'm going to helicopter that away. And while I'm there, I'll come the rest of the way and get my vise inverted so that I can tie in my legs. Now before I do that, again I'm going to come in with my wire brush, just try and pull out some of them fibres like so, and there we go, ready for the legs. Now again, things seem to be running low in the Simpson stock. I've only got a few legs left. I'm going to rip them off the stem here. They're pre-knotted. Hopefully I've got at least 2 either side, maybe 3 on one side. I'm not one for counting the legs. Going back to my original question for you all, does it really matter what you're presenting? I mean, of course it matters to some extent, but I don't think it's as important as some people make out. I think there's much more important things. We are talking about something with a brain the size of a pea, and I'm not referring to myself on this occasion. So we've caught our legs in, nice and buggy looking, and what I want to finish the fly is a feather from this very sad looking hen cape. And I'm going to take that, I should have had that ready for you actually. So I've taken the feather off the hen cape, and what I want to do is I'm going to strip back quite a bit. If you bear with me, I'll show you the feather at each stage of the cleaning process, if you like. So I've stripped it back. I want it quite bushy at the front, so I want quite a lot of hackle here. Now, the next thing is to come to the tip of the feather. I'm going to come in with my hackle pliers and I'm going to take quite a lot at the top here. So all the feather you see here is actually going to go onto the fly. So once I've created my little Christmas tree here, I'm simply going to take away the bulk of it. I've left myself a little triangle to catch in, like so. A couple of turns to hold that into place. I'm going to bring my thread right to the front of the eye. So let me know, tell me what you think. Am I waffling here, or do you think I've got a point? There's tying nice flies, and then there's tying flies for fishing. Now, because I have two hobbies, I really enjoy catching fish, and I really enjoy tying flies. So invariably, my fly boxes do end up with a lot of what I would call nice looking flies, but it doesn't mean that I believe that's making the slightest bit of difference to their ability to catch fish. A very good friend of mine, who's been on my mind quite a lot of late, used to say to me, if you're tying a fly and you're using more than 3 ingredients, you're wasting your time. I don't quite agree with that. I quite enjoy tying flies, so it's not a big burden to me, so to speak. So I've brought that round. Now I'm not happy with how much hackle I've got there, so I'm going to bring it back very carefully, and I'm going to remove some of that hackling that I've got on my stem. I'm waffling so much that I really wasn't paying attention to how much hackle, but with any luck I can save the day and I won't have to start again. Not very good for the last one of the summer, is it? So I've just stripped that back. That's looking more like it, and then once that's in place I can come around. I usually trap the stem in on the other side, but I can remove the hackle pliers. At least you'll be able to see what's happening, I suppose. So next, I'm going to lick my thumb and forefinger. I'm going to slick that stem back, and then from the front of the eye I'm going to come and build my head. Now it doesn't need to be super big. I think that's going to do it. Now, keeping tension on my thread, I can then grab my stalk and pull it away. And then if I can locate my whip finish tool, I can bring that over. And remove my thread. That's looking not too bad. Again, I'll just come in with my brush just to get it looking how I like. And I can see how that glister from the red is really popping the fly. It's really creating a nice hot spot there for me. So please do comment and let me know what your opinion is on my theory that we're all wasting our time tying nice flies and we should just tie flies that are generic, profile driven, size, and concentrate more on our ability to present them correctly. I'll be interested to read your comments. Getting plenty of varnish onto the head here, and I know what you're thinking. Oh, he's going to clog that eye up and it's going to look a right mess. And it may do initially, but I've got a little hack for that. And I'm going to just insert a feather that I've got on my bench here, if I can. Oh, dearie. And I've just moved that vice and fly out of focus, no doubt. But there we I've got the feather in the eye. Pull it through, and that will get rid of any excess varnish that is clogged into the eye. Well, thanks for watching, and I will see you all after the summer. Please do have a great summer holiday.